simple pool, more or less. We've got some stairs, a spa, and it does have a section for diving. It's a very big pool. It's 100 feet by, I don't know, we can measure, you can always measure distance by typing distance, D-I-S-T. I'm going to prompt it up. And it's 30 feet wide. Giant swimming pool. So, very cool. We can use this line work to import it into Rhino. We can always come back to this model, so try to keep the AutoCAD file open. We might want to W block some different things in and out of here. But generally speaking, you can bring even the measurement tools in. So hit save. You know it can just be whatever it is. Once you're in Rhino, type import. Navigate to that pool, DWG. Say open. We need to make sure that the units are exactly the same. In this case, I think we need to change feet to inches. Really quickly, type distance in Rhinoceros. Turn your O snaps on. And measure the distance. So it is 30 feet. So that was correct. Changing it inches to inches is correct. A new file, you'll start to see there are just a bunch of really default layer names, because I still have my layers open. Layer, well, it's default through layer 05, right? Also, it has a 0 layer. Actually, the 0 layer became imported. These 4 layers all came over from AutoCAD. When I open up my AutoCAD file and look at my layers, I have 0 depth points, L anno dims, and L no plot. So that's where these new layers all came from. You can also see they came in with their colors from AutoCAD, interestingly enough. They have the exact same color settings as they did from AutoCAD. So it's good sort of selection tool. I can turn the dims off. They really don't matter to us. So you can change the visibility by just turning the little light bulb next to them on layer properties off. On, off. And just navigate around, get a feel for it. Okay, so next up, let's create a very simple base for the pool. That's to say, we are going to create the profile of the depth of this pool. So we already have some of the line work we want to use. But because what we're going to do is we're going to create this base, and then we're just going to we're going to sweep it across the entirety of the pool. I guess we can just use these stairs. We'll delete them out from the other side. So select that and that. And these were all individual lines when they came in. We want to join them so they're easier to move around. So select all those lines. If you hold Shift or just some special crossing windows and type join. Now when you click on them, they are joined lines. Move them by typing M, and with your O snap, move them to the edge of the pool. I've got this extra line in here that was used as a center line. I don't need that. I can delete that. So I've just moved my profile over to the pool. I now want to rotate this. I want to just flip it down, right? So that I can extrude it across the pool. I'm going to type rotate, as one might expect. And it says, where is the center of rotation? Well, the center of rotation is this corner right here. But because of our construction planes and the way that construction planes work, we are currently set with a construction plane that is, as you can see, visible with this little grid guy in this direction. So I would just be rotating it in this direction. And my ortho is on. My F8 is clicked on. If I turn F8 off, it rotates the other way. It's no good. That doesn't work for me. I need to change my construction plane. So the second tab over is C-planes. As a visible thing, it's nice to see this little guy, this little grid to show how the construction planes work. I actually, for all intents and purposes, might as well move this over, all of my line work. It doesn't have to hit this spot. We're not working on an exact model that needs to magically hit this spot. So I'm going to select it all, type M, and move it over here to a spot that I actually can kind of visibly work with the construction planes that much better. Even better, because I moved it, I wanted to use my visibility, my zoom to selected to reorient my model. I can't emphasize enough the importance of zooming to selected, Z, spacebar, S, spacebar. in order to help your orbiting. Just the RAM and the computer in general, everything works better when you've zoomed into a spot that you're working on. Okay, so now let's change the construction plane. Second tab over, and what we're going to try to click on are the last few of these. We've got world top view, that's exactly what we're on currently. We've got bottom, that's going to do us no good. Click on world front, so seaplane world front. Okay, now type rotate and see what happens. Click that point. Doesn't really work. It's actually rotating the wrong way. It's rotating up that way, but you get the picture. We're getting closer. Next one, instead of world front, is world back. That just flips the X, Y, and Z. World right, that's going to be the ticket. Okay? Type rotate, and this becomes much faster as you start working with these. Make sure your ortho is on. That is to say, ortho is highlighted down here. If you hit F8, it'll turn it on and off just like CAD. It's going to say angle of first reference. Okay, so we've got our start point set right there. I click over here. If I click up, because it's 90 degrees, ortho, it's going to click perfectly there. Wonderful. Now we're cooking. It's in the exact same, it's in the exact right spot that we want it to be. Next up, we want to sweep this line across the pool. We can use this via the sweep tool. Type sweep 1. You can do this lots of different ways. You could type SW1, sweep 1. The other place you can find this tool is in surface creation menu right here, which on my computer I always have the surface creation menu open. It's a really handy one. And there is a, oops, there you go. This sweep 1 rail right here is a good toggle to always be using. So it's just a single line. I'm going to type sweep 1, SW1, select the rail. I'm sorry, so this is the rail. Select the rail, select the cross section, hit enter. It says, okay, does that look good? Wonderful. Now, I can't really see anything because my visibility is set to wireframe currently, so always feel free to change however you're looking at things by toggling down from perspective. I'm going to change it to a shaded view, which is a lot easier to see. Why did my construction plane not matter at all for that exercise? It's because we were giving it instructions to work within its own construction plane. Anytime you're snapping to something or moving in a certain direction, the program is smart enough to know, like, hey, I'm going to ignore the construction plane because I'm dumb and you're telling me exactly what to do. All right, next thing up. We need a pool on the side over here. We need some walls. So we're going to use the line work that we already have. If you click over here, if you click on the bottom, your line still is right there. Okay? Then we also have the line for the top of the pool. There's a couple of them. I have to hold shift to select them all. They're all closed off. I want to isolate them. I'm going to go to my visibility tab, invert selection and hide objects. When we figured out a way to set these toolbars equal, and we always have these same tools over and over, it'll be a lot easier. You won't have to be navigating around for all these tools, but it's kind of good for you to just forcibly have to go to the right tabs right now. So invert selection, and we want to make this a big plane. The best tool to use here is in your surface creation, and it's the second one over. It says surface from planar curves. There's a lot of different ways to do this. This is just the easiest one that I find. Under the surface tab, you can also, I don't know if it's under here, surface from planar curves. No, it's not. But under the surface menu, surface from planar curves, click that. These are planar curves. They made a surface. It's the simplest geometry to do because they are planar. I could have also done another tool in here, which is called a mesh or a patch or any different one here. But that would have created a much more complex surface. So if it's very simple, keep it simple. I'm going to turn everything back on. Just say show objects. That section is, well, it's not actually ideal because now on the other side we have this spa that we need to build. Okay, so let's start building the spa. I'm going to select those two lines for my spa. And these are, we're going to actually have to build a little bit of line work here. I want to isolate those. I've still got visibility tab open. I'm going to invert the selection and hide the objects. And these two walls represent the dam wall. That is to say, the wall that separates the pool water from the hot tub water. Okay? We also need a bench seat in here. Okay? So we want to offset this line in 18 inches because we want to have an 18-inch depth. The command we use would be offset. Type offset. Select the curve to offset. And the program is smart enough to know, even though the construction plane is in the opposite direction, that you want to offset inside because that's really the only way it could offset it. If you moved it down, you actually wouldn't be offsetting the line work, you'd be copying the line work. So I'm going to type 18 inches because it says, and then it's going to say, whoops, side to offset, type offset, select curve, let's type 18 inches, bam. Now, it put that, it should have been on the default layer. If I go back to my layers, because I created a new line, it's not on the same line. This layer, or this line work was on the L no plot layer, which we can just consider kind of construction lines right now. Even though I based it on this and it was offset from it, it put it on the active layer, which is the default layer. No big deal because we're just using them for constructing things right now, but it's notable. All right, now we've got everything we need. Let's start extruding these curves to create some geometry. For the sake of moving our C-plane, let's go back to the C-plane and reset it back to the world top. Second tab over, and then towards the end, C-plane world top. You can also just type C-plane, and then type W, and it says it's C-plane world. C-plane, F is front, R is right. So always use your command line. Okay, I'm running out of time here. We do these lots of different ways. These walls, I'm going to, because these are at the right elevation, they were up at the dam wall height, I'm just going to extrude those down any random amount. I'm going to select both of them and type extrude curve. As it comes up, it's extrude CRV. Hit spacebar and extrude them down. I can go to any distance I want. Now, of note, it is just creating a geometry. It's smart enough to know I selected two lines. It's probably I'm just wanting to create a solid surface based on those. So it's not creating something in between. But right now it doesn't. It has an open top. What if I want that to be closed? Where do you think I'd look? The command line. Lots of options under the command line. Direction, both sides. I could make it extrude in both directions. The third one over is solid. I could type S. That would turn that on. I can click on the S, and that would turn it on. But it works. I can just pull this down and click. I could type a distance, anything. There we go. We got our walls. I'm happy with these. Now, let's move this down to a distance that makes sense for us for the bench height. Well, let's create a surface first. We've got these polylines right here, so let's select these two polylines. We hold Shift, select those two, and use the command that we already used, the surface from planar curves. We've got to create a surface. This is for the butts, for the seat. Okay, we got a new surface. Cool, that's one way to do it. We can do lots of different ways. And now I'm going to move it down. Now, I want to move it down, so you might think, okay, the construction plane is going to want me to change the construction plane. But as I said before, if you use snaps, you can just move it. So if I type M, and in this case it's saying, where do you want to move it from? I'm going to actually click on the outside corner of this, and I'm going to snap. I need to turn near on, so I can snap near this thing all along this edge. And I'm just giving it the directions. It says point to move to. I'm telling it which direction to move right now. I want to move it down 20 inches. That's a nice depth for a pool to be down. And now it's saying, wait a second, point to move to. So now is actually when I need to point in the right direction. So I click, and now it's there. Okay, I can delete that line up there. I don't need it anymore. And now, let's finish this off. I'm going to isolate it one more time. I don't need these walls. They're going to be perfect wherever they are. I'm going to select the seat, going to go back to my visibility. I'm going to isolate it one more time. I want this to go down 18 inches. This time I'm going to extrude a surface. This is a surface, so we're going to extrude the surface. Extrude SRF. Extrude surface. Again, look at your command line. It says solid. No, we want this to be solid. Why not? So I can type S, and it just changed the solid to yes. Or I could have clicked it before. Now, in this instance, we want it to be exactly 18 inches. Your feet are at the right height. I'm going to type 18 inches. It's going to say, wait a second, that went the wrong way. I don't know why that did. Try that again. Extrude surface, SRF. 18, must have done 18 feet. I'm going to type 18 inches. And it went in the positive. That's no big deal because I can very simply grab it and just move it down to that corner. Just going to move it down referentially. I could have typed negative 18 inches. Why did it move it 18 inches plus? Because of my construction play in this case. Construction play is world top, so a positive value goes up. All right, last but not least, we just need a floor for this, and I don't have a line work there anymore, right? We don't have lines to construct something with, so how am I going to get those lines? I need to steal those lines from this surface, or from this solid creation, and the way to do that is this menu right here. It's this project curves is the command that is most often used, but it's in the curve from object. You could type curve from object, but if you hover over it, you can see the third command is duplicate edge or duplicate border. I'm just going to use duplicate edge. It says select edges to duplicate. I go in, I click that one, I'm going to orbit around, that one. I don't have to hold shift because the command's still set. Says, okay, press enter when you're done. I'm good. I can get spacebar or enter. Bam. Now those are active. All of those lines would be separate. That's to say, if I select one, it's a separate line. So when they were active, I should have typed join. I could very easily select them all and type join. Now they're a closed curve. It's really nice that it tells you it's a closed curve. A program like SketchUp doesn't tell you when curves actually close off, so it can be very maddening. Select that. Let's go back to our surface creation. Surface from planar curve. We created a surface. Turn everything else back on. Yay! Oh, well, it's not quite perfect. We can make it perfect in a number of different ways. First of all, we need to get rid of the stairs in this area. Well, we can use something called the trim. Type trim. Select the cutting objects. In this case, I'm going to select my hot tub. I'm going to select those stairs and trim those stairs off. Same thing here. This time, I actually want maybe these walls to come up to the depth of this spot. I'm going to use that command that I've mentioned a couple times, the scale 1D. If I was to type scale, and I selected this point, and then this, whatever, it scales it all in 3 dimensions, right? I just wanted to do like a push-pull in SketchUp. So in this case, I'm going to type scale 1D, and it's going to ask me origin point. I want to hold this point. I don't want this point to move. And now a reference point. I go down here, and where do I want it to end? Well, I can snap to that base that I created for the bottom of things. Click. We're good. There you are. You can, using the techniques we showed before, you can create a side to this over here, and there you go. Those are the most generic tools that you will ever use: trim, polyline, surface from planar curves, extracting edges to create these surfaces, extruding curves, sweeping curves, rotating things to get them in the right position, etc. You can see how there's a lot of ways to do this. We could have created a profile. Let me just do this really quick. If you can leave, by all means leave if you want to. But I'm just going to draw this. I said it was a 20-inch back to that pool, and then an 18-inch butt, and then an 18-inch down to the foot. That profile right there, I could W block. Yep. Pull back. Okay. I can import that. Pull back. Change my change them to match. Now I'm like, where the heck did it go? This is one of those moments where it's really important to go to your set view and zoom to selected, because it's still selected, so that's how you find it when something goes way out of the world. So there it is. I can kind of zoom back and see, okay, there it is. I can rotate it up into a position that works better for me. I can change my C-plane to, I think, right. Oops, I need to change it here. Okay, now I'm going to move this. And instead of extruding all those, I actually could sweep this through a rectangle. So let's see if my line's there. That's good. I got that line. I'm going to isolate those two. And now let's try that sweep one. I might have to change the location of it, but let's see if it works. Select the rail, that. Okay, there you go. See, I just took that profile and swept it through a rectangle, created it really quick. Just, there's such a multitude of different ways to create these geometries. And really, there are not that, you do not need to know 1,000 different tools to do it. It might take you, like maybe if you knew the 1,000 tools, you could do it faster. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around for an extra 7 minutes. I'm sorry I keep going long. Always feel like you can leave. There's just a lot I want to teach you. So.